So welcome. My name is Jacqueline Asarian. I am an outreach and recruitment specialist here at the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program at the Institute for International Education. And today we're going to be reviewing some opportunities that are available for postdoctoral and early career researchers and scholars, and also kind of framing it in the context of some experiences that alumni have had as a result of these opportunities. I'm going to be walking you through just some general information about the program, and then going on to, eligibility for these types of awards, the application process, and finally highlighting some opportunities really around the world for people a little bit earlier in their academic career. So as this is a webinar, I am, as you can see maybe at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a little Q&A box. And so I would encourage you, if you have questions, to feel free to enter those throughout the webinar. I will be answering them at the end. So, but you're welcome to do that really while I'm talking, just to get things rolling. And with that, I think we can get started. All right, so if you found your way to this webinar today, you may be somewhat familiar with the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program, but just so everyone's aware, Fulbright is the flagship educational and cultural exchange program of the U.S. government. We are sponsored generously by the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, and this is our 75th year, so this is really a banner year for us. We are, really pleased to have been doing this for 3/4 of a century. So what is Fulbright exactly? Fulbright is, we are a program with a mission to foster mutual understanding between nations, advance knowledge across communities, and improve lives around the world. I know that sounds like a very kind of nebulous and lofty goal, but it's one that really guides our work here at the Fulbright program. So to accomplish those goals, we partner with countries around the world, over 160 countries worldwide, to offer passionate and accomplished faculty, as well as professionals in a wide range of fields, to study, conduct research, teach, or carry out professional projects abroad. That really is the basis of all that we do. All of the awards I'm going to be talking about today are going to be things that give you all, as maybe postdoctoral or early career scholars, the chance to do that in countries outside of the United States. Fulbright was founded with the mentality that historically diplomacy had been, carried out with governments talking to governments, and in the 1940s, the U.S. government saw the benefits of possibly having people talk to people as a means for, creating mutual understanding between Americans and others around the world. That really gives, in addition to, of course, giving you all the chance to pursue your professional goals through research or teaching, all around the world, it also gives people the chance to get to know Americans and really the wide range of the American, and really get to know the wide range of the American experience, whatever that may be, and also gives you, as Americans, the chance to get to know people around the world and the diversity of their experiences. So thank you for joining us today to learn a little bit more about these opportunities. So kind of in that same vein, I do always like to point out that diversity and inclusion is really at the core of what we do, because we are, in the business of sending Americans out into the world, and it's very important as a State Department sponsored program that we, that group of people who gets that opportunity as accurately reflects the diversity of the American experience as is possible. So I always just like to point out that, no matter who you are or where you're from in the United States, Fulbright is something that is accessible to you as a scholar, and your participation is welcome. So we are here today to, shed some light on opportunities for postdoc and early career fellowships offered through the U.S. Scholar Program. So who exactly can take on these fellowships? You do need to be a U.S. citizen. That's a requirement for all awards, just so you're aware. As you can imagine, these types of awards do require someone who has completed their PhD within the last 3 to 5 years, depending on the award. So that's something you should always be sure to check for the individual opportunity for which you're applying. Many, though, do not necessarily require that you have finished your PhD before you apply, but a PhD, I think a good kind of frame of reference is most do require that your PhD has been completed by February 1st of 2022, unless otherwise specified in the award. And I'm going to talk about the, I'm going to outline the application cycle a little bit later in my presentation, which might make these dates make a little bit more sense. And just so everyone's aware, what we're discussing today are opportunities for the 2022-23 academic year with the deadline of September 15th, 2021. And also, since these awards, for awards that are including early career, postdoctoral applicants and assistant professors are usually eligible. So it's just something to keep in mind. All right, so what can you actually do on these awards? We wanted to share with you just some examples of successful alumni projects. I think there are a lot of ideas throughout American academia and really throughout American society, I should say, because it's not limited to academics, of what exactly a Fulbright scholar can do. And I think there, particularly for postdoctoral researchers and early career faculty, there can be this notion that it's really, intended for a certain type of scholar, when really many of the postdoctoral opportunities are truly open to all disciplines. So I just wanted to show you a few examples of some successful projects that scholars have carried out within the last few years. For example, in the 2019-20 academic year, there was a postdoctoral scholar to Israel hosted by the Weizmann Institute of Science, who, as you can tell, had a very STEM-focused project, which was directed coevolution of protein kinases and their substrates. And that's, I think a lot of people who specialize in STEM may not be aware that those types of projects are really quite welcome by countries around the world. So I'm happy to answer questions about those during the question and answer session. And separately, kind of in a similar vein, we had a scholar to Canada in 2016-17 who was hosted by the University of Northern British Columbia, whose project looked at oil spill impacts on Arctic whales and Indigenous communities at the Beaufort Sea coastal marine ecosystem. And finally, just one more example, a scholar to France in 2017-18 who was hosted in Lille, looked specifically at climate change and climate change, population growth, and politics, mitigating risk through smart city innovation. So as you can see, there's really a wide range of kinds of projects that can be taken on through these postdoctoral and early career awards. So we just wanted to give you a few examples of the kinds of things that people have successfully pursued through Fulbright. And what do U.S. Scholar alumni have to say about their experiences having been through this? I mean, I think you'll find that the Fulbright alumni that you may run into are, particularly passionate about this experience because it's often a transformational one. It's one that can really broaden your scope as a professional, give you new opportunities and really pretty profound experiences personally. And it's something that really, especially as people who are earlier in your careers, something you can take with you really for the rest of your career. For example, we had a U.S. scholar to Israel from 2013-14 point out that their experience was extremely beneficial, and they went on to say that they would advocate for future students to take part in this program. This has been such a valuable networking and researching opportunity as well as a learning and cultural experience, which is really our hope. I mean, that's really the goal of the program, and this is something that that person obviously walked away from this experience having, which we are delighted to see. Another U.S. scholar to France in 2016-17 indicated that working daily with my collaborator enabled us to surmount language and technical barriers, which was essential to accomplish the research we planned. With the mutual understanding we have acquired during my stay, we will likely be lifelong collaborators. And without the Fulbright, we could not have accomplished our research goals, which I think is really a critical point. Taking part in exchanges like this earlier in your career can really set you up to have collaborators outside of the United States that you can work on, whether it's research projects, teaching exchanges, anything you can think of for years to come. I think in higher education we hear the term sustainable partnership very regularly, and it's something that is obviously welcomed by everyone, but it's welcomed for a reason. And Fulbright is a fantastic way to get your career off on a good foot. And kind of in a similar vein, one final quote we wanted to share with you. A scholar to Brazil in 2014-15 indicated that I made significant progress on my book project, and the grant served as a stepping stone to another postdoctoral position in the United States. As I told my friends and colleagues when my grant came to a close, it is quite possible that my 6 months in Brazil were the best 6 months of my career and indeed my life. Obviously, a very warm and strong recommendation for you all to pursue these kinds of awards. But I think the fact that they pointed out that this really opened doors for them to another postdoctoral position at home, having taken on a Fulbright in Brazil. And that's, the kind of thing that we love to see. And this is the kind of thing that frankly happens often because this is a well-known program and one that really can open doors for you, again, as at an earlier stage in your career. And so now we wanted to just highlight, what kinds of opportunities are available, just to give you an idea of awards throughout our wide catalog of opportunities that are open to people like you, and how to go about selecting them, and also just what the application process entails. All right, so how to select the right award. Fulbright is a broad program. We offer over 400 awards in a given application year, which is the case for this year as well. Of those, a significant portion are postdoctoral or are open to those who are postdoctoral or early career. So when you're navigating the awards that are available, which at the end of my presentation, I think I will, as long as time allows, I'm happy to walk you through how to search for these in addition to the ones I'm going to explain in just a moment. But it's good to just think about, does this opportunity match, do I, as an applicant, match the country's interest, expertise, and the career profile? Is there a language that's required? To be very clear, the answer for the vast majority of awards is no. In most cases, as long as you can conduct, as long as what you're proposing can be conducted in English, there is no need to have a proficiency in a language other than English. I think you'll find that most of the research around the world, particularly if you're in the sciences, English is, has become obviously very widely spoken. And so you should not be shy to ask about awards or consider awards in places where English is not the main language, because it's likely that you would be able to carry out your activities without, without another language. And so, sorry, I went forward a little too fast. And also, are there discipline preferences? Some of these awards are particular to certain institutions or certain disciplines. So just make sure you check the award description and see if what you're looking at is really a good fit for what you want to accomplish. And also think broadly too about the relevance of what you're doing to the host country or institution. Again, in many cases, institutions are looking for people with certain types of expertise, including at the postdoctoral and early career level, to contribute to their campus and to their knowledge base. And so you could always be a good fit for that. And benefits to you and your community are something to think about as well. Note that you can only apply for one award per application cycle, which is a question we get pretty regularly at the Fulbright program. So I just want to be clear, all of these awards I'm going to walk you through, you will need to narrow down and choose just one for each application cycle. And if you're having trouble deciding, it's always something we're happy to help walk you all through, especially at this point in the summer. If you say, for example, you are a physics doctoral student and you're looking for a place to conduct research abroad, physics is studied literally around the world. So, there may be a few countries that you've narrowed it down to and you would like us to help talk you through how to make a decision. While it is, of course, ultimately your decision, it's something that we are happy to help you navigate here at IIE. And so, and now the application cycle. I've talked a bit about, what you can accomplish, what kinds of projects people have pursued, why these have been beneficial in the past, and how to decide what types of awards to apply to. But then how do you apply? The application process is, I think, fairly straightforward, but it is a lengthy process. So I wanted to walk you through what is necessary. In February of 2021, the application became open, and there is a catalog of awards that contains all of the opportunities that are seeking applications for this academic year. Applications are due on September 15th. So all of you joining us today, now is actually an ideal time to get started on thinking about your application, because You have a good 2 months left to put something together, which is a tight turnaround, but still a good amount of time. So you're in a good place. After September 15th, applications are then sent to IIE staff here who conduct more of a technical review to make sure that what you've presented can be reviewed as it's been submitted. And then from there, your application will be reviewed here in the US by a peer review committee that's composed of Fulbright alumni in your field. And at that point, it's determined whether or not you're recommended for an award. That indicates, really basically to me that you've been shortlisted for your award and you get to move on to the next phase, which is really a great, I think a great testament to the quality of your application if that happens to you. And then from there, your application is sent abroad to the Fulbright office in the country to which you've applied, and they conduct their own review. And recommended applications from that process are also reviewed by the Fulbright Foreign Scholarship Board at the U.S. Department of State to receive final approval. Those decisions are made really throughout, those decisions are communicated. It says January through April on my slide, and I know that's a wide range, but that's also a somewhat honest one. Some countries get us to their decisions as early as late January, others as late as April. So it's just, just to be prepared if you apply, that's the timeline that you're looking at. Hopefully everything goes as planned and all of, you apply, you're recommended, you're selected, and then you can spend the rest of the summer preparing for your departure in the following academic year. So all of you, as I mentioned, but just to reiterate, the awards that are for which the September 15th deadline applies are for the 2022-23 academic year. All right. So now that we've reviewed a little bit about the the program and the application process, I wanted to walk you through some opportunities that are open specifically to people like you. These are awards for which the the country offices have communicated to us in close collaboration with maybe universities in their countries, or really just looking at country priorities, that they are looking for people who are earlier in their careers or postdoctoral scholars to come and contribute via applying to via these awards. So we can get started with Europe. In Albania, there is a specific award focused on improving media and information literacy, in which the scholar has the opportunity to co-teach a course in media and information literacy to first-year students in the Communication Sciences Bachelor Program at the University College Beder in Tirana. Following that, we have an Austrian American Studies visiting professorship in Austria, which is a flexible combination of teaching, advising students, collaborative research, and enhancing institutional collaboration, which entails teaching multiple courses. In Azerbaijan, there is also an All Disciplines Award that's specifically seeking early career faculty. Teaching for this opportunity might include co-teaching, guest lectures, workshops, or seminars. Grantees will be expected to teach at undergraduate and graduate levels, as well as advise students and assist faculty with curriculum development. Support students conducting research, as well as engaging in activities at the Baku American Center, and provide other public lectures and trainings. There's also specifically postdoctoral awards in Europe we wanted to highlight for you today. There is a postdoctoral award in the Czech Republic, where fellows who are recent graduates within 5 years of completing their PhD studies can undertake original research, publish their research findings, and develop and expand their personal research networks. And you might get the chance to lecture as well. In France, we have the Fulbright Postdoctoral Award in the Social Sciences, where scholars are able to conduct research in their area of specialization, at the EHSS, which is the École des Hautes Études en Sciences Sociales, in Paris, which is the School for Advanced Studies in Social Sciences. In the Slovak Republic, there is a postdoc research award in which awardees can conduct research in really any field of specialization. One thing I forgot to point out, but you'll see really as a recurring theme through the rest of the world, if I point out that something is all disciplines, that truly means anyone in any discipline can apply unless it's otherwise noted. There are some some all disciplines awards that may indicate some preferred fields, but unless it is otherwise specified, an all disciplines award truly means all disciplines. So, a literature postdoc and a, computer science postdoc specializing in security can both apply for the same award and would equally be considered. So just keep that in mind. So in the Slovak Republic, we have another example of that, the All Disciplines Award, in which scholars can conduct research in any field of specialization. They've also indicated that an awardee could also teach if that's mutually agreed upon between the scholar and the host institution. In Spain, there is a postdoctoral research award in all disciplines as well, allowing you to conduct research and collaborate with colleagues at Spanish academic and research institutions. Activities can include presenting lectures, seminars and workshops, and other activities as arranged by the U.S. Spain Fulbright Commission, which is the Fulbright office in Spain. There's also a multi-country award we wanted to point out, which is the Fulbright Schumann Postdoctoral Award at the European University Institute, or EUI, in Florence. This is kind of a unique opportunity in which a scholar can spend up to 9 months at EUI in Florence. The scholar will have close contact with one of EUI's departments, which are economics, history and civilization, law, political science, and political and social sciences, or the Schumann Center for Advanced Studies, which is devoted to interdisciplinary, comparative, and policy research on major issues on really the European integration process, and if suitable, the Max Weber program as well, which is currently the largest international postdoctoral training program in the social sciences. So as you can see, there are a lot of opportunities in Europe that are appropriate for postdoctoral and early career faculty, and we hope you consider them. But Europe is first, but not the only, because there are opportunities in every world region. So now moving on to the Middle East and North Africa. Primarily, so Israel, Jordan, Morocco, and Egypt all have all disciplines awards that are open to those earlier in their careers. In Israel, there are postdoctoral fellowships at Ben Gurion University of the Negev, Hebrew University in Jerusalem, the University of Haifa, and at Weizmann Institute for Science, as well as an all disciplines postdoctoral fellowship in which scholars can be hosted at any appropriate institution within Israel. I always like to point this out when talking to postdoctoral applicants because it really is a unique opportunity among Fulbright awards around the world of any kind. It's unusual in that it's for 2 years. It funds up to 20 months or two 10-month academic years of full funding. Up to 8 awards will be funded in all disciplines for the postdoctoral fellowship in all disciplines alone. So just to keep this in mind, if you are interested to pursue this, it really is kind of again, I know I keep using that phrase, but it really is a unique opportunity amongst Fulbright awards to be able to have 2 full years of sponsorship. I'll note that a letter of invitation is required for all awards and for all postdoctoral awards in Israel, pardon me. But if you are interested to pursue a postdoctoral award in Israel and maybe you don't have a connection, you are more than welcome to contact me here at IIE, and you can see Middle East North Africa at iie.org is on this slide. I answer those emails, so I'm happy to help you myself. But also, you'll see in the award description for each of these opportunities that the Fulbright Commission in Israel has also generously extended themselves to work with applicants to help you all identify hosts too. So if any of you, again, especially at this point in the summer, with about 2 months to complete your application, if you are looking for an opportunity abroad and you don't have a connection, the Fulbright Commission in Israel can help you make those connections to be successful. Similarly, in Jordan, there is an All Disciplines Award that is open to academics at all levels, and they welcome early career academics. Awards are available for 5 to 10 months, so usually 1 semester up to a full academic year. Note that dependent support is available for this opportunity too. So if any of you are considering taking a family, about a little over half of all Fulbright awards across all categories offer some sort of dependent support. And I think that's something that actually sets the Fulbright program apart, is that we do have that kind of support. So this is one of those types of awards. In Morocco, there's an All Disciplines Award as well that is welcome to early career academics. Awards in this case are open for 3 to 10 months. And if And similar to Israel, if any applicants are interested to go to Morocco and are having, and would like some kind of assistance in identifying a host or making contacts, the Fulbright Commission in Rabat can also assist you with that. So this is another example of if you are at this point in the process trying to identify a host, they can help you, which will really move the process along. And, we all want you to be successful in this process. And so that kind of support is available to you. At the American University in Cairo, there's an All Disciplines Award as well, but it's offered via the School of Global Affairs and Public Policy, the School of Science and Engineering, School of Business, School of the Humanities and Social Sciences, and the Graduate School of Education at the University of Cairo. Grants are also available for anywhere from 4 to 9 months, which are usually 4 or 9 months, pardon me, because they're looking for someone to be present for 1 or 2 semesters. Right. So in sub-Saharan Africa, there are no awards that are specific to postdocs, but there are over 20 awards that are open to early career scholars. And so if you've completed, which we define early career as, having been, after having completed your credentials, so be it your PhD or another terminal degree, being a scholar for no more than 7 years. So many people who are appropriate postdoc candidates are also appropriate for early career awards. So keep that in mind. In Botswana, there is an award specific for public health applicants, looking for those in the field of public health, of course, but also related fields like biology and medical sciences. And you have the option of teaching and or conducting research. So it's really quite flexible. In this 9 or 10 month award, you can choose one of several institutions for affiliation. So it's really quite open within the field of public health. In Eswatini, there is an All Disciplines Award for which applicants have, again, options for teaching and or research for a 1 or 2 semester grant at the University of Eswatini. Note that a terminal degree is not required for this award. So if you might, have a master's and some teaching experience at the higher education level, this could definitely be a fantastic opportunity for you. In Malawi, there is also an All Disciplines Award, which again is, I think you may be noticing a theme here, things it's quite open. It's an All Disciplines Award, although it's an All Disciplines Award, but they do encourage, in particular, disciplines of business and entrepreneurship, macroeconomics, education, public health, public policy, and several others. So I encourage you to check the award description if Malawi might be of interest to you. And separately in South Africa, there's an award specific to science and technology. So of course, looking for people in disciplines related to that, like computer science, agriculture, engineering, geology, information sciences and systems, physics, public health, as well as agriculture. Applicants can have, activity options of teaching and or research. So again, very flexible in terms of what you can do, and looking for applicants for projects for 6 to 10 months. And finally, in sub-Saharan Africa, we do have a computer science award in Zimbabwe. So as you can imagine, they're looking for someone specific to that field, particularly artificial intelligence, databases, data mining, data warehousing, educational technologies, applications development, and forensic and cybersecurity for a 10-month teaching and research award. So teaching and conducting research concurrently. Applicants can choose from one of several academic institutions for affiliation. And again, a terminal degree is not required. So if you have maybe a master's degree, but some experience teaching at the university level, this could be a great chance for you to have an experience abroad. In East Asia and the Pacific, there are 2 postdoctoral scholarships in Australia, one at Deakin University and one at the University of Newcastle. At Deakin University, they are seeking applications in all disciplines, and you are based at Deakin University, which is in Melbourne. A letter of invitation is required for awards from 3 to 10 months. And so, you could be there as short as a summer, as long as a full academic year. And similarly, the scholarship at University of Newcastle in New South Wales is also looking for 3 to 10 month projects. And really, it is an all disciplines award, but, or multiple disciplines award, I should say. So while it is quite flexible, they are particularly looking for projects that might contribute to better, healthier living, connected communities, next generation resources, or growing industries. So as you can tell, those are quite broad topics to pursue, but that's because they're looking for people from a broad range of expertise. So I encourage you to investigate that. Also in the same region, in the Philippines, there's an all disciplines award looking for early career faculty, which is open to early career academics. And again, seeking people in a wide range of fields, but with a particular focus on U.S. or Philippine studies, policy, sustainability, STEM, law and human rights, and some other requested disciplines. So feel free to take a look. These awards are shorter, 4 months for teaching awards and 3 to 4 months for research projects. Separately, there's also a regional award in East Asia Pacific for ASEAN, in ASEAN countries. And so for the ASEAN Regional Research Award, this is open to early career academics and allows for 3 to 6 month projects that require you to travel to 2 to 3 countries within the ASEAN region of Asia. And so this is kind of a special opportunity within Fulbright for you to explore a regional project as well. All right, and in South and Central Asia, we do have some awards we wanted to point out to you today. The Fulbright Nehru Academic and Professional Excellence Awards is really one of the largest awards that we have in the catalog. It funds up to 40 scholars. Projects in all disciplines are accepted, and any appropriate institution can serve as a host. And a letter of invitation is not required. So again, if you are at this point in the process and you do not have connections abroad, awards that do not require a letter of invitation can really be a good thing for you to consider. And also in the same region, we have an all disciplines award in Kazakhstan that's open to early career faculty, a multiple disciplines award in Uzbekistan, a teaching English as a foreign language award that's really throughout. It's a multi-country award but specific to Central Asia, as well as a regional award at within South and Central Asia. So kind of similar to the ASEAN Research Award, this also allows for you to conduct research across the region. Looking for projects in 2 or 3 countries. And letters of invitation are preferred but not required. I do encourage you, if this interests you, to pursue letters of invitation in places that will host you, but it's just something to keep in mind. Projects may be contemporary or historical in nature. It's really it is an all disciplines award at its core. All right, and then finally, we do have awards in the Western Hemisphere we wanted to point out to you today. There are 3 unique postdoctoral awards in addition to several awards that are open to early career academics. Postdoc awards include a postdoctoral research award in Canada. This one is open specifically for projects specifically to projects in Black history, Indigenous studies, and environmental studies in North America, which is kind of an interesting mix for a North American focused award like this one. Possible locations include the University of Windsor, which is right on the border with Michigan, as well as the University of Northern British Columbia. And so keep in mind, this award is for the entire academic year. There are also Fulbright postdoctoral awards in astronomy and Antarctic studies in Chile, which allows scholars to affiliate either with the Chilean Antarctic Institute or the Chilean Society of Astronomy. So it's a pretty special opportunities to be with leading institutions really around the world in those fields. You do need to arrange a letter of invitation, but it funds up to 5 postdocs, and awards are available for 3 to 4 months. And in Mexico, the Fulbright Garcia Robles Postdoctoral Scholar Award is a great opportunity. This award is open to all disciplines as well, but we do want to communicate that STEM fields are a priority for Mexico this year. The Fulbright Commission there is also interested in projects focused on public policy and health initiatives, and has a long history of supporting projects in the arts that further dialogue and contact between the arts communities of Mexico and the United States. So you can see there's kind of yes, STEM is a big priority, but there's other fields as well that they're looking for. There are up to four awards available for this opportunity, and looking for projects for 3 to 9 months. Research can be combined with teaching as well in this opportunity. In Peru and Suriname, there are also all disciplines awards. In Peru, this 4-month award funds up to 4 scholars to affiliate at any accredited institution or research center in Peru to teach and conduct research concurrently. So again, this is another example of award that's really wide open, lets people pursue, affiliations and projects that they want to pursue in Peru. They do look for someone with at least an intermediate level of Spanish, so that's just something to keep in mind. And finally, in Suriname, Suriname is kind of a hidden gem of sorts. It's a small country on the northeast coast of South America, which achieved independence from the Dutch in 1975. It's about 90% of the country is covered in dense tropical rainforest, so people whose research might be related to that sort of thing could be, and whatever that might look like, Suriname could be a good destination. And Suriname's largest educational institution is Anton de Kom University, as well as other private higher education institutes for teaching, journalism, and business, have highly qualified academics who are eager to collaborate with international partners. The U.S. Embassy there is particularly interested in projects that will have an impact on building the capacity of the country's institutions and contribute towards their development. Applicants are sought in all disciplines again, but again, areas of special interest, are listed in the award description. So I really appreciate you all listening today. I know that's been a lot of talking at you. I'm going to leave this slide up because this has our contact information on it. I'm going to answer a couple of questions and then just going to take a look here. And then I also will walk you through how to find more information on our website after today. I see a couple of questions. So first of all, great questions you all have asked. There are, a couple of questions I see about just how to search for awards. And so that's something I'm happy to help you with. For people who, there's also a couple of questions about how you can tell someone with a certain level of experience is appropriate for an award, which, it's a question I get all the time. Fulbright awards for U.S. scholars that are open to early career applicants are often also good opportunities for people who might be postdoctoral, which I say because, and always look closely at the award description for the award you're considering to check for any details or special requirements. But, we define at the Fulbright program early career as someone with up to but not exceeding 7 years of experience as a scholar. So if you've completed your PhD, maybe say in 2019, you've been conducting research since then, you would absolutely be a fine candidate for and many of the early career academic opportunities that we might have. And then someone also asked about healthcare related projects in particular. I will say, as you can imagine, everywhere around the world, people need healthcare. So everywhere around the world, healthcare and public health are welcome fields to study. If you do not see, and I know I've mentioned this, but just to reiterate, if you do not see something that is maybe listed as specifically for your field, but it's open to all disciplines, you can absolutely pursue those opportunities. And I can say just based on the fact that most institutions around the world are happy to have visiting scholars in healthcare fields, I would encourage you to pursue them. We also had a question about people who might be, have a terminal degree, such as a JD, but maybe not a PhD. And the question is just, how feasible is this for someone with that type of credential? The answer is very. A JD is a terminal degree in your field. You are, I would encourage you to consider these kinds of awards. If there is something that you're considering and you maybe can't tell if you would be a good candidate or you would like maybe some reassurance or some further guidance, you can always reach out to IIE staff. We are here to answer your questions. That is our job, and we're happy to help you. Fulbright is a fantastic program with a wide range of with a wide range of opportunities, but it also is kind of a big, it's kind of a big process to tackle sometimes. And so we're here to help you. We are here to support you, and that's truly our job, and we're happy to do it. So for any of you who might, be a little unsure if you'd be appropriate and you want to clarify it, we're always happy to help. Yeah, and someone also asked a good question, which is this, specific to their field, saying, that a 9-month award for for a field in natural science, perhaps biology is an example. That a 9-month award might be very short, but the opportunity that you might be considering is only up to 9 months. What do you do? How do you frame this? That's a great question, because I think a part of your, a big part of your proposal is presenting your methodology, and of course, you need to be sure to, explain your methodology in a way that makes sense and looks feasible. And so I would simply be very clear about that in your project statement to say, say you plan to, and also that's, I think, reflective of how research is often done in 2021, right? You might go for a period of time, gather your data, work with your collaborators, and then come back to the US and continue working, simply working remotely. I think that could be a perfectly fine way to manage your time. It's just important for you to articulate that as best you can in your proposal. So I did want to show you all while we are here. So I'm going to hold on, just if you bear with me just a moment. I wanted to walk you through some resources on our website, as well as how to search for awards, which I would like you all to walk away from. Even though I gave you some examples, I would like you to be able to walk away from this today with that knowledge. So you all should be seeing our homepage, and if you don't mind someone just mentioning in the chat that you can see it, I would appreciate that reassurance. All right, great. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So this is our website. If you see CIES anywhere, we are a government program, so we have many acronyms. CIES stands for Council for International Exchange of Scholars, which is simply the entity at the Institute of International Education, or IIE, that administers the U.S. Scholar Program. So here you will see a you'll find really everything you need is somehow accessible through this site. So if you remember one thing from this, CIES.org is where you will find more information. You'll see there's, just kind of general information provided here, but at the top, most of the information is spread across these tabs. So a lot of what you might be looking for is in the U.S. Scholar section. So I wanted to walk you through that. Here you'll see, also spread across different tabs is an overview of the different types of awards. And actually, I saw someone ask a question. Our postdoctoral awards, how do those fit into the Scholar Program? So the U.S. Scholar Program is really the broad program that Fulbright has for faculty and professionals in a wide range of fields to conduct research or teach abroad. But postdoctoral awards are kind of a subset of that type of award. So, so I hope that clarifies. You also have eligibility requirements listed here. So I would encourage you, before you even begin the process, to just make sure that you meet these criteria. And then next, we have the timeline, which I reviewed in my presentation, but if I were you, I would want to refer to it later. So remember that's all here. The review criteria, which if you do proceed with an application, I encourage you to review very closely to make sure that your materials address all these concerns. And finally, what I really wanted to show you was the application tab. So here's where you will find, really, if I were an applicant, I would find this section the most helpful because it has a ton of information. There's links to review your eligibility, which just takes you here, but so you know how to find it. A a link to find an award in the awards catalog, which I can show you in just a moment. And a link to begin the application. Say you find something, you go forward, that's where you begin. And also a checklist before you submit. And a link to also see, what the application process is like after you submit your application. So here's where you will find what is required for the application, as well as instructions in this PDF with application instructions. So as you can see, what's required for a Fulbright U.S. Scholar Award is actually fairly straightforward. We look for, an application form, but also, a project statement, which to me is really like the most important part of your application, because your project statement is where you get to propose what you plan to do, how you plan to do it, and why you should be the person to get that opportunity. There are other things you should address, but to me, that's really the main purpose of that part of your application. Also look for a CV, 2 letters of recommendation, some short essays. If you're applying for a research award, we look for a bibliography reflecting current sources related to your topic. If you plan to teach at all, we look for syllabi that are just used simply as examples of how you organize a class and how you present a class to students. So we look for that as well. A letter of invitation, which may be required, but not always. So it's always good to look. I'm happy to talk more about that if you have questions. And then a language proficiency if required, and a portfolio if you're in an arts discipline or a writing discipline. All right, so now we've walked you through that, and looks great. You want to find an award. Here's the awards catalog. So this is how you search for individual opportunities. As you can see, we're in the 2022-23 academic year. Again, if you scroll down, there's some kind of things that are elsewhere on your website, but just some more details that are available here. You can search by region, by country, or by discipline. But if you want to see everything that's available, you can just click to search awards. And here, as you can see, we have over 400 awards that are available for this academic year, which is great. We are looking at, and you can, so as you can see, there's different awards listed, and then on the left-hand side of the screen, there are different criteria by which you can narrow this 400 plus list down. If you're looking for things open to people like you all, I would include, you can look for postdoctoral awards and those that are open to academics, including early career, and search awards. As you can see, it's many awards are open to people in that category. So say we are looking at, my mouse is over Australia, so let's check this award out, Fulbright Postdoctoral Award in all disciplines. So I can show you just as an example of what kind of information you find in an award description. Because I know I've mentioned throughout my presentation today a couple of times, like check the award description, check the award description. This is what you find there. So as you can see, obviously the title, some pertinent information, and everything is really spread across these 4 tabs. Excuse me. On the right-hand side of the screen, you will see the application deadline, which for almost all awards is September 15th. The type of activity that you can carry out in that award, in this case, this is open exclusively to research. Whether or not a PhD is required, in this case it is, and this is open exclusively to early career academics. And also separately for any award, if you, again, we have, webinars like this to answer your questions, but if you have a specific question about an award or you're not sure about how to do something in your application, every single award has a staff associated with it. As you can see, I'm the contact for Australia, and you're always welcome to email at this address. This address is me. Chances are I am the one who's reading it and replying, and also my phone number is included. So in the award details tab, you'll find, more details, as you might imagine, including the length of award. In this case, 6 to 10 months is what they're looking for. If there's any sort of information about the start date, you can see that. Disciplines that are being sought, as you can see, this is really open to all disciplines. The award requirements is very important to review very closely, I would say even before you start your application. As you can see, this award does require a letter of invitation, meaning you do need to submit an invitation letter with your application. And as I've noted, not all awards require a letter of invitation. This one just happens to. Obviously, no language requirements because it's in Australia. And they do specify that for this award, they are looking for someone who has completed their PhD within the last 5 years, and those with more recently completed degrees are preferred. The stipend and benefits tab is where you'll find all of the financial benefits so you can plan accordingly. And the country and area overview simply kind of reviews the country or area to which you're applying. Someone also asked about the flex option. The flex option is kind of a unique thing that allows you to pursue, instead of one longer trip, it allows you to pursue shorter, many shorter, not many, but multiple shorter trips over a 1 to 2 year period instead of one longer trip. So just to show you how that might look, because the Multiple Disciplines Award in Algeria is open to flex. So, and whether or not it's, I'm getting ahead of myself. So if that is a possibility, you can see that in the award details tab. So it's always way at the bottom. So as you can see, this is open to flex. And flex is designed for scholars who require multiple visits to the country. As you can imagine, there are certain types of projects for which this is really kind of a better scenario than making one long trip. And for every award where this is possible, there may be different parameters for different awards. So that's always listed very clearly here. So for this award in Algeria, as you can see, you're able to go in 2 or 3 shorter segments, preferably during the academic year. And they give more parameters here, like such as the minimum the minimum length of the grant for which this is possible, and just different parameters through which you can pursue this opportunity. So I'm glad someone mentioned it. If you do choose to pursue this type of option, I would encourage you to just check in with, well, maybe not check in, but I think it can really, just to be very clear in any materials that you present for your application, that this is what you intend to do. That's just, that's like, I think that's actually an underutilized, in my opinion, I think that's an underutilized option within the Fulbright program, because I think a lot of people aren't aware that it's possible. So that is something that you can pursue. And if that does interest you, we have a Flex webinar that was done about a month ago, and the archived version is on our site, which I can show you how to get to. So as you can see from the home page, Connect with Fulbright is another link at the top. And this is where you can connect with us more. I encourage you to, if you attended today and you want to, you're considering applying and you want to stay informed, please register your interest. You can do that by following this link here. And I promise you will not get tons of emails. You might get an email maybe about once a month, and the month prior to the application deadline, you might get a couple of extra emails. So feel free to do that. But you also can, as I mentioned, you can register for a webinar, which if you all made it here today, you have likely seen this page, which is great. But I wanted to note as well, through that same link where you probably registered, you can get to the webinar archive. So if you just click there and click on past, you can see all of the webinars that we've done throughout this entire cycle. And as you can see, there's been really quite a wide range of things that we've been able to offer, thankfully. And so please just take a look and feel free to take advantage of this resource, because it is there for you to use. And separately from webinars, we also offer office hours, which I think are a fantastic tool that we offer to applicants. This allows you to just in a very, it really is an unstructured way for you to get your questions answered live. So my colleagues and I in the outreach and recruitment team it's just a very basic like Zoom meeting where you can log in and have your questions answered. Your questions will be answered in front of the group, so just to be aware of that, but they're not recorded. And you also then can, I think it also helps for scholars to hear other people's questions, because I think it can make them think more critically about what they're planning and things to consider during that process too. So as you can see, they're offered, in most cases, they're offered once a week, and different regions and programs might be featured in different office hours. But I strongly, strongly encourage you, especially if, again, at this point in the summer, if you're considering these kinds of opportunities. The office hours, again, they allow you to really actually talk to a human person as face-to-face as you can when you're not in the same room, and get your questions answered right away. So I absolutely encourage you to take advantage of this resource for you. All right, so, and with that, I am going to put this screen back up so you can have our contact information. And it looks like we have one more question, so I'm really glad I was able to answer all of your questions today. One question, so the final question for the day is, if you're traveling with your family, would partners typically be eligible to work during the Fulbright stay? That is a great question. I would strongly encourage you, if that's something that you're considering, to actually reach out to the Fulbright office in that country, because that, as you can imagine, with work authorization abroad, there may be, visa ramifications or, other, it's quite different than being a visitor. If you're going to be working and being legally paid in a country, that you may need a special type of visa in order to do that. And so that's something, as you know, every country around the world has slightly different, policies and systems for that. So I always encourage people, if that's an issue or something you need to clarify before you apply, to contact the Fulbright office in that country, and they may be able to assist you. But that's not something that IIE staff could really assist with. So I am happy to stay on the line, so to speak, for a couple more minutes here to answer your questions. I first of all want to thank everyone for taking the time on a Friday to join me live. It was really great to, even though, I can't see you all, you obviously can see me, but it's nice to be in a room, even if it's a virtual one, with people who are interested in Fulbright Awards for postdoctoral and early career scholars. Because as you may have seen from the alumni quotes that we were able to receive, and if you've talked to your colleagues who may have pursued these kinds of awards, it's something that really can, I think one of the alumni used the phrase that it was a stepping stone for other opportunities, and that is absolutely something that is open to you. So I would just welcome you to pursue these awards. They are, here to really bring Americans to the world and to bring the world to Americans. And so, and remember that IIE staff is here to help you at every step of the way. So you shouldn't be shy to reach out. And remember, as I showed you all in the award descriptions, in each award description, there is a staff member associated with that award. Our email address is there, our phone number is there. So please feel free to reach out if you need any sort of support or have questions. And I just want to thank you for joining me today. And I hope Fulbright is for you. So thanks a lot. Oh, and one other thing. So first of all, this webinar was recorded, as you probably have seen. This will be available on the archive that I showed you, hopefully within a few days. So feel free to check for it there. And if you have other questions, I think we're going to wrap for the day, but you are welcome to send me an email or reach out if you have other concerns you would like to address about postdoctoral and early career opportunities. So thanks everyone, have a great weekend, and good luck with your Fulbright application.